It has been some time since I have created a video or audio because apparently my voice is far more powerful than just my written words. As McRaven and Biden have always seemed to work to go out of their way to clip whatever I say because it goes against their goals, which is to keep Black Americans and African Americans in the pit, as Mr. Michael would say, Jean Michael would say, YouTuber, young gentleman who's been going through the history of Black America and explaining it to Black Americans. Their situation is a product of generations of cultural indoctrination and violence. But most would say they know that, but not the way, but not understanding the behavior has been purposely modified through violence so European Americans can be violent and psychopathy can run amok without a check. So before I go on with what needs to be done and taken care of for this particular presentation, which I'm going to go through in real time, let you know what's been going on. Obviously, so here's the situation. The Democrats have been violating my privacy rights, my right to self, broadcasting me without my permission, stealing my intellectual property without, using my intellectual property without compensation, trying to make me accept pennies for something that I'm not going to accept pennies for. The Democratic and the Republican parties believe they are rulers as opposed to representatives of the people. Joe Biden and using McRaven, along with Clinton, mainly Hillary, who was very much a Calvinist bigot. Calvinism is interesting with its predestination, but they're predestined, but everyone else is not. I'll always find that hilarious. Destroyed the working class of America and really doesn't plan on doing much about it because they're paid off. They don't want to change anything because they'll lose money. And instead of finding ways to stand by your values, they show those values have been malleable for the last, 30 years now? Since the 90s, 92, Bill Clinton came in. So they're at a conundrum. And an inflection point. You can't really bring me to trial for anything because then I will be able to, or at least they'll try to stop, but I will be able to implicate them because they've been trying. The whole goal is to try to figure out how to stop me and how do I see all of their games and bullshit? How do I experience their crap? And they can't Because the manipulators got to manipulate. Like right now, several days ago, they put this female hormone around my desk. And I cleaned up my desk, clean it out, got rid of it, and it's fucking back again. It was yesterday I did that. I had to do that. And today it's back, and I'm just argument might be, well, you didn't. Maybe you. No, I checked. No. It was done. There's not a moment in my life that these fuckers have not harassed me. And Joe Biden's a piece of shit. But the thing is, here's the biggest thing about Joe Biden being a piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned, is when I informed him that McRaven had been given information to the Trump campaign, he wasn't surprised, which means he was in on it. That he helped throw Kamala Harris under the bus. Looking out for his old buddy. So it's like McRaven keeps doing horrible shit and keeps getting away with it, just like Trump doing horrible shit, and because they don't want to cut their options, they're willing to overthrow the Constitution. They're willing to overthrow the people's sovereignty. And they have done so, and they don't want to tell the people this. And the rest of the world's just looking at us going, how many governments have you overturned talking about democracy? How many of our lives have you spilled talking about democracy? And here's your democracy. Dude overturns it. And you do nothing. The Americans do nothing. Now, Democrats are going to say, oh, it's Fox News, the Murdoch effect. It's not them. Oh, it's money in politics, and why don't you work to get it out? Well, they pay us to not rock the boat. There was this thing on More Perfect Union, and it was about NAFTA, or new NAFTA, or whatever the hell it's called, I don't give a shit. Name something NAFTA, Mexico agreement. When the cameras were on, Biden was like, yeah, I want to help the unions. They were trying to help the Mexicans who raised their wages down there. As soon as the cameras were gone, Joe Biden was poof, like a fart in the wind. Now remember, I'm a business guy. You got a degree in business. Dad was a business person. I do not seek celebrity. I do not seek fame. If anything, I eschew it. But I do like to keep my own personal private fortune. But bigots like McRaven, Biden, and Clinton, and the rest, and Schumer, their power and their money is based on keeping African Americans impoverished by force, if necessary. Meanwhile, as their cluster B pathology states, the smaller they can keep black Americans, the more they can make. Because they have to be that distance, that psychological distance within their minds. So what I've proven over these last 4 years is structural racism starts at the top, from the very President of the United States, Congress, and the courts. And it is actively initiated by the politicians who then use law enforcement on the behest and behalf of business interest. See, Biden doesn't want to undo the harsh criminal sentencing and things. That's why he wanted Kamala. Throw the black African American heterosexual male on the bus. Keep them under control. That's why they keep having these faggots attack me. That's why McRaven interrupted and interfered with every relationship I've had. Come to the realization that there's a high probability that I am a birthright citizen of the United States of America and a birthright subject of the Commonwealth. Because the head of the state is the throne as the crown of the United Kingdom, together as better known as the Commonwealth of Nations. And Biden and the Democrats, the corporate Democrats, are purposely violating people's rights. Biden never once brought out or tried to stop McRaven and the harassment because he thought it would benefit him personally. This is 4 years of my life that I'm not going to get back. 4 years of health that's gotten worse, and I'm not going to get back. Because an old fucktard wanted to think he can steal my soul energy. And oh yes, that faggot at LA Fitness, they want me to tell you what I was planning on doing. They think they can, no. Not saying that because then they can catch me and say, oh, you ordered his assassination. No. Joe Biden ordered his assassination. And the Democrats, even after he gets out, ordered their assassination. They are dead men, one way or the other. And I'm not going to stop him. I don't give a fuck. I told the faggots to leave me the fuck alone. Quit trying to create a false association. Now they're going to try to make, well, it's a black on black crime. I see those people don't. No. No, it's not black folks going to come. But we also now know and see how the establishment Democrats and Republicans use black Americans to kill each other, keep each other in check and in place. And you're going to say, well, how does that keep wages low? Well, if you got your lowest tier, who's mostly there, who barely makes over $20,000, $30,000 a year, and if they start making outputs, you then send McRaven and the SEALs to steal their works, destroy their businesses, and then say, well, you need to vote for the Democrats. So your pain will go away, the pain that they caused. this is my final one. People are just wondering, is this really true, this situation? Yeah, it's very true. But there's no way I'm going to be able to make money with what's on Top Step X, because even if I was to get the right trade direction, there's not enough left in the account. It would immediately go over the number, and that XFA would be no more, or that account would be no more, because even if I was to use a micro, it's still going to be 75 cents or something like that, and I only have like 68 cents. So immediately it goes over. That triggers the what is it? Triggers the code, and then it says, okay, you've gone over your. And the thing, it wasn't from my fault. It was, as I've caught them being McRaven, the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, probably Clinton and Obama. I could see why the Caucasians call him Obama, because they're all the Democrats. The pieces of shit. They've been throwing everybody under the bus. No, at least at least the Republicans. It used to be the Republicans, but now the Republicans. MAG is actually the Dixiecrats who moved over to the Republican Party. And then you have what's left of the old leadership of the Dixiecrats and Northern bigots still controlling the Democratic Party. Because most of the working class, they know the game. No, they're on the Ari Melber very succinctly stated today in his discussion with Robert Greene of the 48 Laws of Power is what Trump has given him. It's like, hey, be on the winning side. And you won't be a loser like those Democrats. And when they say God, guns, and gays, they mean God's guns and niggers, and the niggers are gay. That's why one of the reasons, besides the fact that I don't like that association, and how you use something where I was like, hey, you know what, people are weird, that's their thing, and then you try to steal my person. Those faggots can go fuck themselves. I see now why you beat the shit out of faggots. They deserved it. Especially dudes. You're just going about your business, blah, 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 and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? It's not that they like dudes, it's that they think they can be a woman, fuck with a heterosexual dude kicks their ass, kills them, or fucks them up, and then they go whining. Oh, you shouldn't treat us that way. You shouldn't do what you're doing and violating other people's sovereignty and rights. Because the homosexuals take away from the real power structure of the psychopaths and narcissists, both of which are the same, because a homosexual is a pure psychopath or a pure narcissist, especially if they're masculine. I mean, not masculine, especially if they're male. As once, now people understand, as I explain how they're thinking, and that's, once it's a motion object, it's a fucking psychopath. I mean, it's a narcissist. There's other reason that a psychopath can be, a narcissist usually can't be a psychopath, but a psychopath can be a narcissist, and yet so the psychopath can do both emotion and logic. Developmentally stunted child, essentially. So, the Democrats are selling everybody out. Instead of squaring with the people and saying, yeah, everything I'm saying is right, they're lying. They need to stop. They've been stopping me from trading. And it's going to get worse here on 12:01 on Monday. Biden will then release his pet to be, with Trump in full bore attack me, even worse than what it's been. Because he's pissed that I wouldn't accept him fucking with me. I told him 2 years ago in December when they were like, "Oh, we won. We'll just keep beating this horse." And I looked, and Chuck Schumer took Nancy Pelosi out to lunch. They had a little thing, and they're just showing, "Oh yeah, we're going to keep using you." And you can see it in Nancy's face, just like, that's not right. But Chuck, being Chuck, his normal bigoted self, because, he doesn't, oh, you think you're so smart. Ha, 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 ha. No, I know I'm smart. It's just, so I've been dealing with the same shit my entire life. No matter if I do something perfectly, you immediately shut it down, and now I understand why. Now I understand the bigotry, and that's why I was like, well, let's go do my own thing. The internet was a godsend. Build my own business. I don't have to do the whole, because in the South, you still have a lot of motherfuckers who are just so bigoted, and they'll start talking to them, and within 3 sentences, you're like, oh, okay, I know what this motherfucker's about to do, and they'll just start saying the same shit you expect them to do. And I just kind of sit back and it's like, And it's been funny to see people who I've known who thought I understood nothing, and to see them now realizing, like, oh yeah. I was like going on to a cigar shop, Tony Nardone. He's a clever dude, but part of his wealth has been because his dad built it, and he had something to work off of. But for him to find out that I've always understood everything that was going around me, and all the shit that they were saying, what I find hilarious is it's like I offended them. After they've been purposely offending me. It's quite hilarious. Quite fucking hilarious. And for the people, this is real. Now, because of all the noise, they can't really just straight up kill me. They're gonna have to let it all die down for a wee bit, and thinking I'm gonna have to try to keep talking to stay alive. No, I'm going about my life. Trump's a bigot, McRaven's a bigot, they can bigot together. They'll kill me or keep harassing and trying to destroy or steal everything I do. They get a system going, they destroy it. Get some cash going, they do something so they have to use it. This is not all of this is illegal, but then since it's the president, it's not illegal, right? Can't go overseas, and they'll kill me over there. But you know what? I think I might go to Europe and say, fuck it. Get a different passport. Now that I know, go get my Jamaican. Well, he stole my original entry passport and my other Jamaican passport from a child when I was a child. Then they stole my American passport when I first got out of the military. I never got but another one. And then they stole my naturalization document. So they can try to get me rolled up in the, when Trump goes through and does his little sweeps. They'll probably come for me and then document it and scare the Mexicans and the Negroes. Joe Biden should have never been president. Should have been Bernie Sanders, but you know, he's bought out just like the rest of them. This is the last few days to make a difference, because as soon as Trump's in, it'll be first 6 months to maybe a year. Everything will kind of be great, and everybody's like, "See, it's great for you, you Negroes." Meanwhile, then once Trump squeezes, he'll do actually Stephen Miller says he's going to do the bans and start rounding up people right off the bat. So we'll see how that works out. Probably, creating all the skirmishes, and then when they go to the street, Trump has been watching all of these things. And regardless of what he says about Congress, or what Congress might say, he will act as if there is no Constitution. Because remember, his thing is the power of positive thinking, whatever that guy's name was. And because he knows he likes likes the power. Don't blame him. He likes the power. He's an addict, even though he doesn't drink. He is an addict. Most narcissists are. Okay. So that. Oh yeah. Let me add this one on. I didn't want to put it on. Yeah. Fed works. So we're going to go through this real quick. This one, they can kill me for this one, because that's me fucking getting them back. Little fucking tards. They dislocated my knee, dislocated my hip, which dislocated my sacral, which is the bones that flex forward and back. Tried to turn me into a fucking transvestite, but I'm too heterosexual. Shit doesn't work. So we now know that transvestites and a good deal of faggots are demonic entities, are, from an ontological perspective, are possessed by demons. Not all, mind you, but a good amount of them, especially the flaming faggots, are demonically possessed, from my perspective. Well, not just my perspective, but you can, well, maybe you can't, but I can see them, but, so. But if we're to be American, and human, we look for the spark of life in humanity, even if it's being overridden by a fucking demonic entity. The entity needs to learn how to fucking behave. Just like Sapolsky's baboons. So here's the thing. Calling all veterans. I'm going to go through this over the next 3 days, which is probably not, well, it would take, and Biden has, and McRaven have completely shut down my voice to build up the presence. This is what they've done. This is why McRaven became an admiral, because they were using McRaven to harass and destroy black businesses, or Mexican businesses, or any businesses that were not Caucasian. Because the psychopaths need to project. It's a pathological for them. The cluster Bs need to project. But without racism and bigotry, their behavior, their true behavior will come out. And as I said, anything you find positive, if a person is not split, if they're not demonically taken over, the demons don't know how to survive. They don't know how to live. That's exactly something they said to Dr. Brzezinski. I've had them try to attack me. I'm talking about the entities when I was younger. And now that I know what it was, I'm glad I looked at it. I thought, I was like, that's not me. And I remember it was a schizophrenic thing. I heard a voice outside my head, and I'm like, that's not me. And who's calling me? And it was like a foot or so way over. And I just thought, okay, that's not, and I just blew it off. But now that I know that it's a demon, and how demons communicate compared to how angels communicate, they're pissed right now. So I just don't have to always see them when they phase out of people. It's interesting when an angel phases out of a person. It's kind of like, oh, that's cool. Check that out. Demons, it just comes out of their eyes with rage and stupidity. But angels are a little different. Sometimes they make absolutely no sense at first. That's for sure. But demons, you can definitely see them. Now that I know what they are. Even more so. I blame, Joe Biden was trying to blame Nancy Pelosi. Get the fuck out of here. If Joe Biden had respected me as a person, as opposed to somebody he thinks he thought through violence and millions of American dollars violate their rights, both as an American and getting the British to violate my protections as a subject, he'd be in office right now. But he thought that big money instead of voting rights. He says big money instead of the Constitution. Big money instead of the people. He got what he fucking deserved. Both him and Kamala. I've never been more disgusted by a group of people than my entire life. And you might say, well, if you were in that position, you obviously have shown that I'm ruthless. I am absolutely ruthless. I have no qualms with that. So I am chill. Because I'm not needing to get into a bunch of la-di-da-da-la-da-das. No. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm going to do it. You're going to leave me alone. Or I'm going to do this. You've made your decision. I don't need to feed off of a bajillion emotions. That's what it means to be a Sigma, why we're hated. Because the demons hate us because, well, we're not here to sit there and circle jerk with them. And if Joe Biden wants to take that risk, to get to me by letting those two guys die, not my problem. Not my circus, not my monkeys. He goes, oh, you're bluffing. Okay. That's you doing exactly what I said you're going to do. Because I want. Now, I'm not going to tell them to do anything like that. And I would not do that myself. But I damn sure don't want, I damn sure right now, if I had a baseball bat to find that dude in 306, yeah, and I would beat him into a bloody pulp, and I would kill him. Make no mistake to it. And he is deserving of such behavior. This motherfucker down in LA Fitness purposely, and because we know the behavior creates changes within the brain, it is a physical attack, an assault, but it might not fly within the court system at present, but yeah, them and all the faggots. They didn't know how to act like a human. They didn't know how to just say, hey, this guy says he's straight. This guy is straight. Leave him alone. Do the right thing. And they couldn't do it. Because the bigots need their bigotry so they know how to act properly around European Americans. And then they can manipulate the working class. Because the whole thing is, I do what I do, Duke of Edinburgh, I do the whole, because the also other thing is they don't want the British, which is the most hilarious thing. The British are shooting themselves in the foot and with their racism, and they know it. King Charles is an idiot. I mean, he's not an idiot. He's well read, of course, and all that stuff. But when it comes to this situation, he has no clue. And even though he is so, he's actually, addicted to Camilla. That's what they do, is they get you addicted to them. Paying pleasure. So now he can't do anything outside of that association. That's why he needs 2 years to be away from her so his amygdala can shrink and he can become his own person. Because she's had him under control since he was probably in his teens. or early 20s. It's not 20s at the latest. But they don't want two things they don't want. They don't want to see a melanated person in the throne. I mean, not the throne, on the crown. And they don't want the UK to have their own sovereign wealth fund, the royal family specifically. And then the hell and almighty of it being actually started by a melanated person. And then they also don't want because especially the Southern bigots, you have a person who is like me, whose life follows all of Western civilization, has been part of shaping Western civilization as far as the genetic line for well over several thousand years. So when you get rid of everything, when you put it all together, it comes down to only one thing: psychopathy and narcissism. With basically a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old at best, throwing temper tantrums and creating havoc for the world. Kind of interesting when you think of it like that, right? It is very interesting when you think of it that way. So, I know I'm a dead man within the next 3 or 4 months. At best, preferably within the next week or so, because say what you want, but I know MI6, I will not be changing the directive. And I know MI6 will do their duty. And it will be the blood on Joe Biden and McRaven's hands. And I will not be doing this any longer. And if you're out where you're violating my rights, and I'm going to sue. If you're probably going to kill those lawyers, as McRaven seems to be fond about doing. If he can't do something, he just kills his way around. To a hammer, everything's a nail. To a serial killer, everything's a murder. And that's all McRaven is, and would have ever been. He had not found the seals. I guess he's the most successful serial killer in the history of the United States. I'm not talking about the military, I mean the United States. Okay. So here's the goal. But it's not going to happen. I want it to happen. I should say it's not going to happen. This is my appeal to you. Because you're going to say, come back to me later, well, we're ready now. It's like the chick who, you're going to go over her house and she takes fucking 10 hours to get fucking dressed. You try to get some ass. And the time she's done, you're just like, I'm in the mood. Done. This is out. But they're going to, no, they're not. Anything done under fear only produces more fear. And all also, under that circumstance, they'll just flip it and turn it into something for their use. For those of you who are wondering, how do I know that it's estrogen? Dude, have you ever smelled a chick? She's like right in that time. Yeah. And the other day I was in Publix, and this thing, which is a transvestite, had the Lumi slathered all over, and it stunk all fucking high hell. Oh my God, it stunk so horribly. And then trying to be all power tripping. I was just quiet because I was just like, man, just made everyone uncomfortable. And I was dealing with, and she's defending some person who had been rude to me, and I was like not having it. So I say she because it looked more like a she, but once you can, no matter how much testosterone these fucking its try to put into themselves, they still stink to high heaven like a fucking, I mean, they just stink like a man. You know it's a dude. It's fucking weird, man. These psychopaths. Both a Republican and a Democrat. There are no good men left. And the reason they want the faggots is that way they can say, oh, see, we're keeping the faggots in line. We're keeping the niggers in line. Oh, the niggers are coming for your guns. That's right, we're keeping them in line. That's what the Democrats are saying. And this is their, right now MAGA is their last gasp. 40 years, 50 years since civil rights. And there's the last gasp, but now they want to do full country segregation. It's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect McRaven. He's going to be like, oh, sweet, I don't have to fucking go on the hill and see a black guy or a nigger or whatever, you know how it is. Get me out of my home in Colorado. Because, well, wow, once again, mimicking me. I just realize just how pathetic psychopaths really are. So anyways, the goal is for Americans to not take the streets, just overwhelm their representatives and tell them, hey, tell the Democrats, might as well get this over with, because there's going to be a civil war. Trump's going to keep pushing. He put Pam Bondi in on purpose. She is a malignant bigot and narcissist. She has hate in her eyes and every movement, contempt, disgust, rage. You can hear it in her voice. She practices her behavior movements, and they're so inauthentic. The only thing, just like Megyn Kelly, she has is her hatred. I know, she praises the baby Jesus. Ain't that cute? Why do you think they want to get rid of all the black folks, all the Africans who came in after the 1960s? Because we're free. We're not psychologically enslaved. And I can understand where they were bitching about Obama bringing in all the Ethiopians because they're Muslim. Yeah, they're definitely a different culture set. And that could be made as like, yeah, okay. They're acting like a bunch of assholes because I've seen it. I'm like, what, dude? That's not how we behave here, dude. But me, American, European Americans, culturally British, genetically African and Western European, all the way through. Through past antiquity. This is what they've been trying to stop as far as my metaphysics and study. The full power of my genetic line. With its memories and experiences. If we go into the metaphysics route, even so, the full power of my past lives as ruler, peasant, king, and God. And these aren't my statements, this is the way royalty thinks. And knows and believes. Or believes and knows. Prince William, he's going to say, oh, you didn't, make any money, so, well, I was supposed to have protection as a subject. But your father, King Charles III, under the auspice of Camilla, and then her backers who are also trying to overturn and control the king, which means once that's gone, it's because the way the IEAP works, it doesn't work without the king or a line of throne, then there can be no sovereign for the United States. Trump has got to be king, emperor. And if anyone thinks he's going to leave, if he's still alive, they got another thing coming. And the main thing, these foreign oligarchs such as Peter Thiel and want, so they really want J.D. Vance in there. And he has stated, a permanent ruling class. That's an aristocracy. In America, you're supposed to, one of the great things they did is that's what they call, that's why that whole death tax, that's the reason they don't want the inheritance, that's why they want the inheritance tax to be removed, because then they don't have to do all these maneuverings like give to charity to maintain their riches and pass them on. They can just be, and then they'll just get worse and worse and worse as they get farther and farther and farther away from everybody else. Then they'll start fighting amongst themselves. They'll have infighting and wars. And this is after they've gotten rid of all the black folks and everybody else, and have turned what black folks are, they've turned into slaves. And if there aren't slaves, they're slave-like because they're going to use because their goal is to use their droids that they're going to build, and they won't have to deal with anybody else. This is what they want to do. This is their pathology. This leads to it. Where a person who's centered and says, oh, this is an extension. I can do more. We can extend ourselves, and we can create more with less. And that's not what these bigots are up to. Not even close. So, anyways, I put out the thing for tomorrow. The goals, of course, is to get the voting rights have Biden signed voting rights into law right before he leaves. Federal Reserve, one of the things that needs to be done with the Federal Reserve, but I definitely know won't have, is a bank. It is a private bank. Jefferson was against the Federal Reserve because of it being private. When you look at, old bills, money used to be a treasury note. Money today is a debt note backed by your hard work. Now, before you go saying this is Jews, the banks, no, that was the House of Morgan, J.P. Morgan, created the Federal Reserve after a financial shock, which he probably created. What is in reserve? This is the important word, that word reserve. The bank of last resort. Right. Let me explain something to you. A bank must, fraction of their assets in reserve. Our hard work is that reserve. The Federal Reserve owns America. Why do you think they keep putting us in debt? Because they buy our debt, and the member banks make a profit off of us. What do we do about that? Here's my proposal that's going to get me killed, but fuck them. what we do about it is way for eminent domain. Pay $1913 because they knew this was a conspiracy. Eminent. Eminent domain. Pay $80 because if orders for 25% of the Federal Reserve. Because it was bought dubious, has to be a legal word. What's that called? What do you have? An intent, defrauding intent, with fraudulent intent. And the reason you want to say fraudulent intent is because of the Supreme Court. So it's very important to use that. So by the time and then you just stall it out and blah, 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 make them fight for it. 25% of the Federal Reserve. Okay. And you can own U.S. Own no more. And 25%, no less than 20.01%. And if a portion is sold off, it has to be bought back within 5 years. First right of refusal. By we the people. And J.P. Morgan stated, he need not control a country if you can control the money supply. You control that country. Another thing that needs to be done, usually I don't do many words on these, but this one's just going to be like, okay. Is voting. Taking your voting rights back. Now this one might seem a little strange. What do you mean by that? Hedge funds, hedge and private equity will buy all of these stocks. This is why they wanted the 401k to get the money out of pensions. You're voting, right? Because you own the stock and you're okay. Vote on your behalf as if they own the stock. because let that sink in. They are using your money to control the boards Gotta love that scam. So, if there's nobody there, I'm going to write to Prince William, say what's up, tell him c'est la vie, I wish you well. I will be long dead by the time this all comes to fruition. You have told, King Charles has told the Commonwealth he is an absolute monarch. And I don't care how good that, well, it's not, we know it's not about the pussy. We try to say it's the pussy because of the man. Well, it is because what she does is creates pain, and then the pussy is the relief from that pain. But, and then false association things, but, because she is very malignant. But there's no reason for Prince William to put his life on the line, and I'm not going to ask him to. Joe Biden silences voices. He is the biggest piece of shit and bigger traitor, as far as I'm concerned, than Trump. Trump is a blatant traitor. Just like J.D. Vance, Biden and McRaven are those soft traitors. So, the only other thing left is, Biden secures legacy. Or he will be known as the one who lost the republic. And when he had the chance to return it to the people. He, on the Pope's willing actions. It was like Joe Biden is, I think that was everything. He's deeply committed. Bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. Then you had Obama getting set up by Trump to say dumb shit. Stuff that obviously only another president can understand. But Trump baited him. Even though he thinks the exact same way. He mimicked him and then baited him. And Obama fell for it. It's like, really, dude? Are you fucking stupid? First off, you should not be talking like that. You should have just like, hey, dude, we're in the middle of a funeral. And he would keep trying and just keep putting it back down into its place. All these fucktards. All these fucktards. I didn't really, as a kid, you know evil exists, but to really see evil, I mean, not talking about war and things like that, but evil, in the metaphysical and ontological sense. Yeah, there is real evil in this world. And America was supposed to be able to fight against it. Granted, we started with darkness, but we're always moving higher. But no more. A republic that we could not keep. So we're not deserving of it. It's like, oh, we'll just keep fighting. You'll just keep fighting. That wasn't my life goals. I'm not wasting my time because a toddler, a demonically possessed toddler, and bigot wants to feed off of my life force energy. Nah, go fuck yourselves. Deuces. Fairly well, America. We no longer exist. Roman Empire limped along for what? Several hundred years after the Republic fell. We'll limp along too.